The world economy would collapse in a single day. Imagine if every person drank expensive champagne daily. This would mean 8 billion people, each consuming maybe one full bottle every 24 hours. That is 8 billion bottles. A single bottle of luxury champagne costs at least $50. So 8 billion bottles would demand a global expenditure of $400 billion daily. This is a staggering $146 trillion per year. That figure is more than the entire world's gross domestic product, which in 2023 was roughly $105 trillion. Most countries' economies simply could not sustain such a habit. The average annual income for a person globally is around $12,700. Spending $50 a day on champagne alone would deplete that income in 254 days. The logistics of production would be impossible. Champagne comes from the Champagne region of France. Only grapes grown there using specific methods can be called champagne. The region covers about 84,000 acres. This land produces around 300 million bottles a year to supply 8 billion people with one bottle each day. We would need 2,920,000,000,000 bottles annually. This is nearly 10,000 times the current production. The existing vineyards could not grow enough grapes for even 1% of this demand. We would need to convert vast swaths of agricultural land globally into vineyards. This agricultural shift would decimate global food supplies. Millions would starve as food crops are replaced by vines, water usage would skyrocket, grapes need water, an average vine needs about 10 to 15 gallons of water per week during its growing season. Multiply that by billions of thirsty vines. This would put an unprecedented strain on freshwater reserves worldwide. Pesticide use would increase, massively contaminating soil and water systems. Biodiversity would plummet. The unique ecosystem of the Champagne region would be destroyed, trying to scale up. The entire planet would become a monoculture of grapevines. The health consequences would be dire. Widespread daily alcohol consumption at this level would lead to an epidemic of liver disease. Cirrhosis rates would explode. Alcohol poisoning deaths would become common. Mental health issues linked to alcohol dependence, depression, and anxiety would surge. Social structures would fray. Productivity in workplaces would drop to zero. Hospitals would be overwhelmed. Healthcare systems would collapse under the weight of alcohol-related illnesses. Society as we know it would fundamentally change for the worse. Families would be torn apart by addiction. Environmentally, the impact would be catastrophic. The glass for 8 billion bottles daily is a massive industrial undertaking. Glass production requires immense energy. Think about the carbon footprint transportation of these trillions of bottles from vineyards to consumers. Every single day would involve an unimaginable fleet of trucks, ships, and planes, burning enormous amounts of fossil fuels. Air pollution would reach unprecedented levels, and the waste, 8 billion empty glass bottles every day. That is 2,920,000,000,000 empty bottles a year. Our landfills would be mountains of glass. Recycling infrastructure cannot handle even a fraction of this. The very definition of luxury would be obliterated. Its mystique gone forever. It would become a mundane, expensive daily requirement. The economic ripple effect would destroy other industries. Breweries, distilleries, and wineries producing other types of alcohol would go out of business. The global supply chain would reorient itself solely to champagne production and distribution. What would happen to countries not suitable for growing grapes? Their economies would completely collapse. A few regions might become incredibly wealthy due to their climate and soil conditions, but even they would face internal societal breakdowns from the widespread addiction and resource depletion. It is a future of utter chaos, one where the simple pleasure of a special drink is twisted into a destructive global burden. The very idea is a nightmarish scenario built on unsustainable desires and impossible demands. It shows how delicate our current balance is.